Okay, let's have a little bit of real talk today because I want to cover something that I don't hear enough people talk about. We all go into AI saying how great, grand, wonderful it is, and truly it is. Obviously, I'm literally making a business out of it. I love AI, but sometimes we don't talk about how AI actually can become a distraction instead of a solution. And when that happens, it can actually leave you feeling more scattered than before. I know because it happens to me. Actually, it still happens to me. So, have you ever gotten to where you feel kind of stuck in your business, in your life, or you're just like, oh, I don't even know what to do next? And so you find yourself where you keep going and opening ChatGPT and you keep asking it questions. And then you bounce this idea off of it, and then you bounce this idea, but you don't even finish any of it. And then the fact is that by the end, you end up feeling even more overwhelmed than if you had just not used it at all. You keep fiddling with prompts and being like, I don't really like that answer. So you do it again, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, and you do it again. I know because I do this more often than I would like to admit. So today's episode, I'm going to talk about how we can make sure that we are not using AI as a distraction, but we are actually using it as a solution. Cannot wait. Let's get to it. Welcome to AI for Mompreneurs. This podcast is for moms who are tired of doing everything the hard way. You're running a business, managing a home, caring for your children, and making a million decisions daily. Exhausted, overwhelmed, burned out, and out of time. Another planner won't fix it. More productivity hacks won't either. I know because I've been there. I'm Samantha Welch, a wife, a mom to 3 daughters, homeschooling my girls and my niece, running multiple businesses, and managing my 40-acre farm. I've burned myself out more times than I can count trying to do it all with excellence. The game changer, AI. When I learned how to use AI as my personal assistant, everything shifted. I finally had systems that worked, clarity in my business, and more time for what actually matters. Now I'm here to help you do the same. Learn how AI can take the mental load off your plate so you can focus on what truly matters most. No tech jargon or complicated setups here. Just AI that works for mamas just like us. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Okay, so first let's recognize the signs. Kind of like I said in the intro, what does it look like when AI actually becomes a distraction? Well, first, you keep opening ChatGPT without having an actual clear question. It's more of maybe it will generate a question for me, or maybe it will help me come up with a question or come up with something. You open it up and you pretty much ask it for an idea, and then you bounce that idea over and over and over again. And most of the time, for me, it will lead to another idea, and then another idea, and another idea, and another idea, but I never finish anything. It's just this big, long chat thread, and by the end, I still don't have any solutions. In fact, I'm actually more overwhelmed, which brings me to my next point. You already feel overwhelmed, and then you're more overwhelmed after you're using it. So it's not providing you that clarity. It's actually making you more overwhelmed. That's a sign that it's becoming a distraction. Or you just find this random prompt on the internet and you're like, I'm going to put this in and just see what it says. And then you just go from there and you just keep fiddling and fiddling, and then before you know it, you're tweaking a prompt that you don't even actually need in real life. And raise your hand if you've just put a prompt into ChatGPT just to see what it would say. Yes, I'm over here raising my hand as well, even though I know that usually is a time waster, but sometimes it is kind of fun. But the big thing is that if it leaves you more overwhelmed or ends up like flooding your brain and taking up a ton of mental space because it's like an idea that you really don't even need to be working with, that's whenever it can become a distraction. And I really feel like that when AI becomes a distraction in this sense, it's actually not a support at all. In fact, it will just leave you spiraling. And I think at that point it is actually almost harmful. So let's actually go back a little bit and name some root causes of why we would end up using AI as a distraction instead of a support. Well, the first thing that I find within my own life is I'm just overloaded. So I'm mentally maxed and I'm just hoping AI will do thinking for me, which is something that I definitely teach against because I still think that we need to do thinking and then we need to have AI support our thinking. Not that you can't ask for a list of 10 ideas, but you need to come up with what those ideas are about, basically. But that's the first thing, is I'm just already so overloaded, and I think that maybe it will do thinking for me. And then that ends up making me even more mentally maxed than I already was, if that's even possible. The second thing that I tend to do when I'm using AI as a distraction instead of a support is avoidance. I'm using it to escape some hard decision or emotional discomfort. I really feel like that this may be something that a lot of us are actually doing. We know we need to make this decision. We know we need to commit to this. We have things going on. And so instead of actually dealing with that, we're just escaping to AI and basically asking questions just for it to spit out these random answers to one, either validate the fact that we're trying to avoid the hard decision or validate the fact that we don't want to deal with our emotions. And I know that's hard truth, and I'm only speaking this because this is what I do. The third thing that really gets me stuck when it comes to using AI as a distraction and not a support is perfectionism. Oh my goodness. I should probably do a whole episode on perfectionism, but this is something that I really, really struggle with. I have a good idea, I have a program, I have this, and then I keep putting it into AI and asking it to tweak it for me, and then tweak it for me again, and then tweak it for me again. And then before you know it, I have worked on it so much that I end up just getting frustrated and getting rid of the whole thing because I have let perfectionism come in, and instead of just putting out a product that's good or putting out a program that is just good, I am obsessed with making it perfect, and I think AI is going to help me make it perfect, that I end up just totally overwhelming myself and ending up, I'm actually, y'all, there's a lot of projects that have been thrown in the dumpster, the quote unquote online idea dumpster, because of perfectionism. It is a killer. It is a killer. Something, though, to remember is that if you're using AI as a distraction instead of a support, I don't really think it's laziness. I really think that often it's actually either fear, it's fatigue, like you need to take a mental break, or it's the pressure of wearing that productivity mask where you're just like, well, if I can just go in and nail down these few things, then I will be quote unquote productive. And I feel that. I feel that. So here's an idea that I have kind of been toying with and I think will help us, is the fact that AI is a tool, not necessarily a toy. When it comes to like our business and those kind of things, yes, we can obviously use it for fun, and that's perfectly fine. It's though whenever we're using it, but we're allowing it to do what I just talked about, where it's basically keeping us stuck because we're allowing it to overload our mind to avoid hard decisions, or because we're using it to mask our perfectionism. Whenever I started thinking of it as far as like within business and like more important life tasks as a tool and not a toy, this was a big shift for me, because when I treated it like a toy, like a magic ball where I just put this thing in and it should give me out this answer, that's whenever it created all of those problems. But when I treat it like a tool where I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm working on, I'm going in for this reason, that's whenever I was able to start staying focused. I usually will ask myself when I'm opening it up, or actually before I open it up, what do I need help with right now? And if I don't know, I need to step away, because if I don't even have an idea of what I'm needing to do or the type of project that I'm going to work on, then I'm just going to go in and I'm going to start using it as a distraction, because usually if I'm not clear on what I'm working on that day, it's actually because I have usually a mental overload or I'm avoiding something else in my life. And so it's keeping me distracted from being able to focus on what it is I need to work on. So for me, if I don't know, I'll just step away and I'll give myself some time. And I'm not perfect at this. Sometimes I still give in and I just go in anyway, and I basically do some dumb prompt like, I'm feeling overwhelmed, tell me what I'm supposed to do. And then it will tell me like some things I'm supposed to do, but they're usually not helpful, and I'm usually so overwhelmed at that point that I just will continue in the overwhelmed cycle. I will give a little bit of caveat here though. Sometimes this does work for other people. I know that there's sometimes whenever our brain is overwhelmed and we just need to know a next step, and that's fine. But I think that we need to just go through those points that I mentioned and know whether we're actually maybe just dealing with avoidance, or maybe we are too mentally overloaded, or we're stuck with perfectionism to where we should just be leaving something alone and leaving it as it is. If I feel like that I have started using AI as a distraction and not an actual tool, here are some things that I do that have actually helped me come back and be able to use it like I need to. One is just simply writing down my day goal. So what is my goal for today? And I write that down in my planner before I ever open ChatGPT. Because if I know what my goal is, then I know what I'm working towards. Another thing is I actually have some prompts that I have saved that can actually help me start working through something. So, for example, if I know I need to at least get an episode out, right? Like a podcast episode, and I pre-record my episodes. And so with my assistant, I have some clear prompts and some instructions so that when I put that transcript into my assistant, it gives me out what I need. And so instead of having to reinvent the wheel and think about, okay, I have this transcript and I need to what do I need to get out of it? I just have my saved prompt. I can get the transcript, get that out, finish that project, and then 90% of the time, once I finish one project and get that out of my brain, it will open up that momentum, and then I'm able to finish another project. That has just been the way it works for me. So I will start overwhelmed. I will just go with my saved stuff, that template I have already made, that prompt I've already saved, get this thing done, and then it will actually unlock that creativity, and then I can actually start working on other things. Another thing that has helped too is just sticking with same tasks, just sticking with one task, which we just kind of talked about anyway, but that goes along with the saved prompt. So I have the saved prompt about how I want an email to be created from a podcast episode. And so I just stick with this one task, like drop an email or just go in and plan the week or whatever, just sticking with one thing instead of just jumping from chat to chat. And also just be honest with yourself. If you've hit your limit, just walk away. Remember that your business and your life doesn't die in one day. Sometimes we just need to breathe because we've become too close or too obsessed with something. And that is what I have to remind myself, is that I'm not behind. I just need to rest so that I can actually do better. So if you are finishing out this episode and you're totally nodding your head because you have found yourself overwhelmed by a tool that is supposed to actually be helpful, right? You are not alone, and you don't need to delete the app. You just need to reset. AI should work for you. It's not meant to lure you into overthinking. When it becomes a distraction, just pause, recenter, and then ask what actually matters today. And then maybe try again, maybe don't. So if you do find, though, that AI is actually not helpful and you're constantly tweaking and it's just causing you more stress and overload, but you keep using it because, after all, everyone says it's amazing, then my AI assistant training program is for you. It makes a world of difference to go from using a program that does not know you and then having to tweak and retweak and being frustrated when it doesn't get it right and then sending you into overwhelm, versus a program that knows you so well, like a real assistant, where whenever you put something into it, it immediately can give you back what you need. So if this sounds good for you, I would love to just chat with you. You can book a free coffee chat with me and we can just go over what are some things you struggle with and whether or not this program would be actually right for you. Until next time, go make AI work for you. That's it for today's episode. I hope you learned something new or had a breakthrough. If you loved this episode, take a second to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It lets me know you're enjoying this content and helps more moms find it. And if you know another mama who's struggling with overwhelm and burnout, share this with her. Let's spread the word that AI isn't just for corporate executives or tech nerds, it's for moms like us. Until next time, go make AI work for you.